Hello, welcome back to budget amps that are sick. Spider Valve HD100 Part 2. Build a canoe. All that. What are we doing here? We're going to be building a guitar tone using the Spider Valve HD100, and I'm going to address the comments later in the video. I'm also going to have the tone available to you if you have a Nano Cortex or a Quad Cortex, and you go to my cloud page and you'll find the tone there. This is the signal chain guitar. This is a Jackson LSL3, doesn't really matter. Got a guitar cable, right? What? That's going into a tuner, which you should always have as your first pedal. Okay, this is going great. That's going into a TC Electronics Sentry, which is the noise gate you should have if you play metal. That's that. No question there. Thank you for watching my video. Okay, that's going into the amp, right? The amp right now is on the insane channel because this thing is insane, all right? It's real insane. It's like so insane, I'm afraid to have it in my house. All right, but there it is. And so a lot of people, and this is, I don't know, spoiler, I guess, there was a comment saying don't use the insane channel, it's too much. And we're gonna go through some different channels in this video. Okay, so this IR, the first or control tone, so to speak, that is a blend. So that is a 57 and a 440. Okay, those are both 20 millisecond. I'm using a Torpedo Live. It's an older IR loader setup, so I'm running 20 millisecond IRs versus, you know, nowadays you're running a longer IR. But this thing sounds pretty good. I'm happy with it, but that's not what the video is about. That is the signal chain.
Nice.
Okay. Right. And now I forgot something. Okay, so the tone. It's worth mentioning, I don't have an overdrive pedal before the amp. I also have the overdrive and noise gate turned off internally. Okay? Worth noting. So just the Sentry. And it works great. Works really good. Obviously you gotta set it right, but it's a great noise gate. So let's check out some of these different channels over here. Now I said this is the insane channel. It's too insane for me. Too insane for some people in the comments. So I went over to the metal channel on blue. Alright? And that's really like more of like old school death metal kind of sound. Which I would imagine with an overdrive is going to boost it to insane levels, okay? It loses the clarity, but it gains like some low end. So like I would say like if you have a song where that's what you're going for, like more sustain, a lot of bottom end, like doom kind of stuff, you really want like a lot of character or maybe something different too. This being like, it has like a more old school gain structure to it, I would say, you know, versus like a lot of the stuff that's coming out now. And I feel like there was a point where it was like, that was cutting edge, and then like, you know, Axe Effects and stuff came out, and it's no longer desirable. And now that, you know, you have basically anything which possibly imagine every look, something like this is for what it's nice to be able to design it. I like that. I like having different options versus like custom tone. I can change timers. I just changed it. I can't change it very much. I don't think they're too hard to say. This thing is amazing. However, I use this all the time. I use it. I mean, why should I? And that was my ankle. If you heard that, that felt good. Okay, so the Insane channel. It's very much the same, but it has that like attack to it, you know, that you would need for like faster stuff. There's still that like in there that's kind of fuzzy, so it's not like super tight, but it's definitely tighter than the metal channel. Okay. Now, I thought this one was kind of cool too. And this is obviously, you know, it would be more of like an interlude or like just something to change up the main tone. Maybe you want to bring a riff back in. This is a good tone for that. You know, it's like a mid-gain tone. It's kind of muddy, but that's kind of what you want. You want people to have to kind of reach to listen to it. You know, not necessarily, but that is the option, and I think that's kind of cool. It's definitely an interesting tone. Right, so we're gonna go back for funsies. Let's hear. Then we go to blue. Alright, so that's going to be our bass tone to now segue into the next part. I don't know about you, but I have wondered, what is the difference between this Tube Screamer mini pedal and a TS9? What is the difference? I mean, this is a mini pedal, this is a regular pedal. They are both green, and they say Ibanez. So they have the same controls. I'm sure I could look this up. I didn't look it up, but I'd rather just plug it into my amp. That's more fun. Okay, we're going to start with the one that I used in the first video. It's important to mention that I have the overdrive pedal in the proper setting for what we're doing here, and that is drive all the way down, tone all the way up, level all the way up. Okay, I do like to turn the tone down sometimes, but we will get there when we get there. It's starting off everything up with the drive all the way down. I just want level going into the amp. This is with it off. Alright, let's try the other one. Let's try the TS9. Right. I'm not totally satisfied with that. That actually sounds pretty sick. Of course, I'm going to listen back when I'm editing this video, and I'll probably end up liking a different tone. It's also worth mentioning, I'm not trying to make it sound like one of these other amps. I want it to be its own thing. And hey, if you get one of these, that's all irrelevant because I'm making the tone and it'll be right there. Wow. 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 Now I'm gonna need to get like some close-ups over here.
Nice.
Hopefully I remember to do that. Okay. Okay, that will be the control tone, so to speak. I'm going to capture that and make that available on my cloud page. Now let's go to the next part where I adjust the comments. Hello, welcome back. I got my computer here and I'm gonna read some comments. Alright, and they are microscopic. So let me, yeah, I'm blind, if you didn't know. I need to zoom in. Turn the volume up. Okay, whatever, we're gonna move on. Okay, Damit writes, thank you Damit, writes, I do not like this amp with vintage 30s. It sounds really good with DB77s. I would imagine most things do. And surprisingly good with a cross pattern of G12M70 and G12T75s. Active pickups sound great through it. Seymour Duncan pickups, you have to turn down the bass. When tubes get old, you can definitely tell because it gets lifeless and you want a new amp. Don't fear, a new set of preamp tubes will bring it back to life until you can get a new power tube and rebias. Until you can get new power tubes. There you go, I can read. Stay away from hemp speakers with this amp. They do not jive well and make a lot of mud since the low end on this amp is not the cleanest. Definitely going to try different overdrive pedals and a Helix type device. Thank you for the vid. Thank you, Damit. And yes, DV77s, that's like one of my favorite speakers. That's like a modern vintage 30 in my mind. And usually putting speakers in a cross pattern, and we're referring to a 4x12. In order to do a cross pattern, you need 4 speakers. So yes, you're gonna want to do a cross pattern pretty much anytime. I have not tried the G12M70 and G12T75s. I would imagine that sounds pretty good. That sounds like very Marshall-esque. And I like Marshall cabinets. Hello, there's my face. Active pickups sound great through it. Yeah, I would imagine that too. I have some active pickups here. I'm gonna have to try that. Okay. No, obviously, yeah, you're gonna get more push going into the front of the amp. And with Seymour Duncans, I was getting a lot of bass. I think the amp offering tons of bass is a perk in my mind. That's like my sludge amp. I want like, and another thing, and it's cool, I can just be like, here we go. So you can blend this amp with one of these amps, you know, like essentially stack them. So one is handling all the characteristics that the other amp isn't, and then you blend them in together, and you get an even bigger sound. That's a little trick. It's a little trick for you. Stay away from hemp speakers with this amp. Okay. I wanted to try some hemp speakers. Not necessarily with this amp, but that does make sense because they do, I'm pretty sure they introduce some bass on their own. Yeah, don't quote me on that. But they do not jive well and make a lot of mud. Yeah, you just said that. There we go. We read that part. This is going great. So thank you. I'm going to go to the next one now. Okay, Brian Park 492 writes, stay away from the Insane channel. I would suggest the rock sound with overdrive. And we did that, Brian Park. I did that for you, bud. And I would agree, you don't really need an overdrive pedal with the Insane channel. My guess is the Insane channel, their idea is an actual rectifier. You need an overdrive pedal. So the Insane channel, like, it would be insane for Mesa Boogie to, you know, make a tone where you didn't need the overdrive. Like, there isn't an amp that doesn't exist like that already. That's newer than this one though, so maybe I'm onto something here. Mesa Badlander. So I'm thinking that, that you don't need the overdrive pedal. It's already got all the sauce. It's got everything you need. And it's really a matter of like that, like low end kind of like, it's kind of fuzzy. It's kind of a fuzzy sound. So that's why it's not necessarily great for modern metal, and probably why it's like fallen out of fashion with amp choices, with all the different amp choices you have these days. I'm pretty lucky. So yes, thank you, Brian Park. I will stay away from the Insane channel. That's why I made a metal channel tone. Okay. Now, this is Lord of Thorn 2747. Use the grunge channel on the blue mode. It feels more pushed for a cleaner channel and adds a crunch to it. Then use the amps built-in boost and gate. Okay, so I mentioned that earlier. To do that, you hold on the tap tempo, boop, and then you have your reverb knob all the way over, and then you have your drive knob all the way over, and the reverb knob controls your noise gate, and the drive knob controls your overdrive. So what will happen is there'll be the A and the D. Those two will light up or turn off, whether they're on or off. Okay, so use the tap and spin. Yeah, we just said that. And use a solid chain. Mine is a wah pre-gain delay, pre-gain wah boost pedal, preamp, post-gain delay, post-gain wah, 10-band EQ, with the amp having a gate as well as my preamp having one built into it. I can get the craziest sounding 5150 sounding gain, and I think between what I've seen on your channel and this, you have enough pedals to try this out and show people. However, I may just do a video myself. Haha, cheers, man. Well, Lord of Thorn, I hope you do make that video. I'm waiting for that. And that's a lot of pedals before your amp. I like to have less. Like, the thing too is you got to think about like buffer, and the more you're introducing, the less your impedance is going to be properly hitting the amp. If that works for you. You could just use a buffer pedal. I hope you're using a buffer pedal with all that in the front and at the end of your signal chain. Okay. So with that tuner that I'm using the Polytune 3. That has a built-in buffer that's really good. So your guitar plugs into that, then that can hit a pedal, and yeah, it's definitely a little bit better. I haven't like made a proper test. So, and this is a channel of science. I'm a man of science, so tests are needed. Okay, but what happens is you lose a little bit of top end. So it's basically like a filter, right? Taking a little bit of the top end, and that could potentially be the life and breath of your sound. It could potentially be too much top end and all of a sudden it sounds better. So there's really no right or wrong, it's what sounds good. And can you write a good song? Okay. Now, Guitar Hick writes, a friend got one of these for free from a neighbor. It needed a new input jack. Got a generic replacement, but the line 6 input is attached to a PCB that had a ribbon that went into another PCB, the effects built into the amp, I guess. Well, it turns out line 6 doesn't support the amp anymore. Once the jack was chained out, it still wouldn't pass the signal through the amp. Turns out the only way to use the amp, it through the rear of the amp. Okay, so he's bypassing the entire preamp. No control tone at all, just loud crap. That's because you have a 100-watt power amplifier. Bugera should never have got involved. Bogner, unless you are running a top-of-the-line multi-effects unit, it sounds like, honestly, a worthless piece of crap. Okay, I'm real sorry to hear about your amp, brother. Yeah, that sucks. That really sucks. And I don't know, do you have an amp tech around? Maybe take it to them. Maybe find someone local that wants to work on it. I mean, there's got to be a way to fix it, but at the same time, it is a budget amp. So, and hey, if you get a Neural DSP Nano Cortex, you could just use my tone and or whatever. Comment. I'll make another one. If this one sucks, I don't really care. Let me know. So yeah, I hope everything works out for you, brother. Thanks for the comment. Alright, Dirkhead writes, put the metal zone through the effects loop. Okay, so now I'm just going guitar into the metal zone pedal, into the effects loop, bypassing the preamp. So I'm using the metal zone as the preamp. That's going into the power amp of the line 6, then that's going into the torpedo, which is my IR. The IR is the same as before, that hasn't changed. I didn't touch the amp at all. All I did was plug in the metal zone. Okay, now the metal zone, this is the Wazacraft edition. It's on the custom side. Full gain. Very cool, very cool. It's honestly, this pedal, it's pretty similar in terms of distortion. So maybe just get a metal zone pedal. Maybe I just saved you a ton of money. Maybe you just get a metal zone pedal and then you plug that into a good IR. There you go. So what I remember with the metal zone is these knobs, the EQ knobs, are like you could just like barely touch it and it just like moves a little bit and then the entire tone changes. So It is also worth mentioning, like if you're just like trying to make a live rig, you don't want to bring, like, you want something that is easy, quick and easy to set up, and you also like don't want to worry about it getting like drinks spilled on it, like just abuse. Okay, it's gonna get abuse. You don't want to bring all your nice shit to the show and have it all ruined, and then you're all bummed out, right? So, and you know, maybe you do, but you know, it's an option to have something a little bit to maybe sacrifice on the tone a little bit, and then have something that's a lot easier to set up, and you're getting to playing the song faster, which is going to make the people watching you happier. So it's kind of a trade-off. Unless, of course, you just put everything in a rack and then you walk out there, but then you're running into problems with the rack. I mean, I've done that, and like it's great when it works, but when it doesn't, you're tracing so many cables, and that alone could take a long ass time, and by the time you're done figuring all that out, you might not even want to play guitar anymore, like ever. So there you go. That is a Metal Zone pedal into the Line 6, right into the effects loop. How about it? I'm gonna capture that too. Maybe I should add a little bass. Yeah, it's interesting. The bass is there's a little bit more clarity. Probably because there's less bass. Yeah, it's a little bit. There's a little bit more clarity to that than to the Line 6 on its own. So that's interesting. Didn't expect that. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. Next comment. We're back with more Damn It. And he wrote, and I'm assuming it's a he, don't forget to look. I don't know where that accent came from. But I'm going to finish it in an accent. Don't forget to look how to turn on and off the overdrive and built-in noise gate to the amp, brother. Woo! So many options. You can get any sound with a clean EQ pedal. I own 3. And all sound a bit different. 1 HD100, 2 HD100s, Mark II. One of them gets no feedback at all unless you turn to the speaker. I love that thing. Hell yeah. Well, thank you, Damn It. And yeah, 2 amps in stereo just sounds fucking rad. It really does. And that's why I use the Radial Big Shot. I featured that in, you know, countless other videos. That thing's really cool because you can plug your guitar in and then go out into 2 separate amps, have a true stereo rig. And you know, you have 2 ears, so we hear in stereo. It's gonna sound better in stereo, especially if you can get the speakers wide, have a really wide sound. That's always gonna sound better. That's why I have my monitors as far as I can go in this room. Real wide. I create a triangle. What I've heard is you want the point of the triangle about a foot behind your head. That's the best listening position. But I like to not only just walk around the room. I do have some problems here. Obviously, I need some better treatment. But I've gotten pretty accustomed to this room. It's not great, but it works for now. And you know, moving the monitors, just like pivoting them, creates so many different variables that you can really kind of hone in what sounds best. And that alone is worth the time and effort. All right, so that was some comments. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe and do all that fun YouTube stuff for me. Thank you. Okay, you have a good one. Good night.